my husband.
Okay, where's your husband? Is he here? Does he want to testify?
Actually, it's me mainly that is me and him.
Oh, you just talked about him assaulting your husband and pushing him to the ground.
Yeah, he did.
I kind of want to hear that.
This is the plaintiff, Anila. She says she hired the defendant to fix her central air conditioning unit. And he told her the motor was blown and she needed to replace it. She paid him. He took out the old motor and never finished the job. The man's a rip-off artist who preyed on her. He stole her money and she's suing him for every penny of the $5,000 she's now owed. This is the defendant, Santino Tomeno. He says he arrived at the plaintiff's with the new motor he purchased and asked for a check before he installed it. She told him to install the motor and she would send him a check at a later date. And he explained he doesn't work that way. And when he went to leave, the plaintiff's husband blocked his exit. Then they accused him of stealing their old broken motor. The cops were called and now here they are. Crazy lady. He's accused of getting things hot. The defendant had filed a countersuit for $4,002.81 for all he's out.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Anila, you've asked us not to mention your last name. You're suing Tomato Appliance Repair, represented here by Santino Tomeno, the owner, for $5,000 that you say you will have to spend on a new AC motor. He is counterclaiming against you $4,002.81 for wasting his time, slander, loss of work, and motor he bought. What happened here?
On July 25th, my husband called with a company, which just happened to be his company, Santino Tomato, and my central air conditions was not working. So he came over Monday. He looked at it. He said my compressor was okay, my thermostat was okay, just the motor, because he couldn't feel the air. So he said that the motor it might not be working. So while he just peeked in the attic, and I said that just make sure that my attic does not have a beam. And he said, yeah, I know. I mean, I've been in the attic before. So he literally
in that attic or in attics?
Yeah, in the other's attic. Okay. So he went and said, all right, so we gave him $50, and he gave us a receipt. His estimate was $650, including his $50 estimate. So I said, all right, when me and my husband decide, I'll call you. So after like 30 minutes, I called him. I said, Santino, I think you're going to do the job. So he said that you need to give me $250. And I said, all right, if I have money, and I'll give you a call. So obviously, at that time, I wasn't ready for $250. I didn't call him. So he came in next day, and he went in the attic. And before he was going to the attic, I just tell him again, just make sure that there is no beam, because I wanted to be safe, So he went and he pulled out the machine, and while he was there, I peeked in, I said, do you need any help? He said, lady, when I need help, I'll let you know. I said, okay. All right. So he was working. So after like 40 minutes, he came down and furious. He said, lady, you stop cheating on me. What do you think I am? How come you didn't tell me there was no beam? I said, I told you there is no beam. So he pulled the machine. I said, you know what, let me take the picture of the machine, because he was saying it might take a couple of days to bring in to order the machine. So I said, here's your $250. And he said, I'll come back in a couple of days. So Wednesday night, evening, I called him. I said, did you find the machine? Yeah, just to make sure that he found the machine. He said, yes, he found the machine. So then at the end, he said, all right, so how much are you going to give me tomorrow if I come in? I said, well, whatever the balance is, $350. I said, no, you're not going to give me $350. You owe me more. I said, how do I owe you more? I said, Santino, and at that time he was like furious with all this, and he was degrading me, all that. I said, Santino, what time are you coming in tomorrow? And he said, all right, I'll be there at 7 o'clock, 7:30. So I took a day off. My husband took a day off because and then I called him, I called him at 8:40. I said, Santino, where are you? And he said, I'm not doing it, I'm not coming in. I said, what do you mean? What happened? He said that, no, I don't want to do any business with you, and I'm done, and I don't want to replace the motor.
So how much are you out? The $250?
I gave him $300 total, And then the rest of the...
because the 50 for the estimate, and then 200.
250 for
and 250, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then why are you suing for 5,000?
Friday he came in. He had to come in.
He did come in?
Yes, Friday he came in.
And does he do the job?
No, he came in, and my husband said, where's the machine? Where's the motor? He said that he went right straight up, and he said, I'm here to get my ladder.
And then he left.
And he left, and I'm trying to stop him. I said, where's the motor? My husband said, where's the money? And he said that I'll give you the check in the car. So while he sat in the car, my husband, and he pushed my husband.
Okay, where's your husband? Is he here? Does he want to testify?
Actually, it's me mainly that is me and him talked a lot.
You just talked about him assaulting your husband and pushing him to the ground.
Well, yeah, he did.
I kind of want to hear that.
He can come
What's
in.
going on?
Your Honor, I got a call on the 24th of July. They had a broken air conditioner. I told them it's $50 to come in and check it. I made an appointment for the next day. I went there. There was her and her husband there. So I told them if the motor with the brackets and everything, the capacitor and the labor is $650. The air conditioner, if you need the Freon, if you need it, would be $100 additional. I left with the $50. She called me. I was at AT&T store. She says, I'm coming right now. I'm going to give you a $250 deposit. I sat there with the gentleman for 45 minutes, and I called her. I says, where are you? I mean, I'm sitting here. I would have just came back, got the money, and then, moved on. She says, no, I'm not coming. I never said I'm coming. I says, yes. She said you want the job done, and you were bringing me the deposit. But all right, just forget it. So I left. Then the husband called me the following day to do the job. I went there. I went up in the attic, took out the motor, getting everything ready.
I have a question. When you go up in the attic, was there a problem that you had not anticipated?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I've gone into attics all the time. That's where your evaporator and your central air is.
Okay.
They're all in the attics. And she told me when I was first there that I have to, what kind of mechanic am I? Why don't I bring wood to walk on, up in the attic? I said, I don't need that. I walk on the beams. And she kept saying, well, you're not a good mechanic. Everybody comes with wood. When I got up there, the unit was all in pieces. So I says to her, I says, hey, you didn't tell me someone was already up here taking this whole thing apart, but it didn't matter. It's not a big deal.
It shouldn't matter because your little gopher head needed to have looked at that when you were estimating.
Oh, no, you can't say it. It was all the way on the other side of the...
Well, you could if you walked up there and estimated the job. I mean, in other words, did you underquote the job, do you feel?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It was $650.
So what were you guys arguing about?
There was no
Why did you guys get so nasty with each other? What happened?
It wasn't. She was upset about the fact that I didn't bring up beams.
Okay.
Doing this like my whole life. My whole family's in service. So I went over there. I took it all apart, bring it downstairs. I said, you have to give me $250. She says, no, I'll give it to you when you come back. I said, all right. So I left the ladder.
So you didn't get the $250 that day, according to you?
No, she didn't give me
Do you have the check, the canceled check?
No, not the check. I gave him cash. See, that's the thing. I don't have the proof.
Okay.
Nobody gives me cash without a receipt, Your Honor.
Well, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
lots of people do business that way.
Well,
I wouldn't.
anyway, she didn't give it
Do you
to
have
me.
a receipt for the $250?
No, he did not.
So you handed cash without getting a receipt?
He had my machine. I said, well, where's he going to go? And he was...
Well, where's he going to go? Here's what you do. You grab the nearest roll of toilet paper and the nearest crayon, and you write down that you gave him $250.
Don't squeeze the Charmin. The testimony continues.
I said, there's your parts. Sign here. He signed a piece of paper that I gave him the parts. I went in my car and got the heck out of there.
Did you push him?
Never touched him. Also,
Did he fall?
What?
Did he fall?
Absolutely not. I never touched him. He was a customer.
The plaintiff hired the defendant to fix her central AC, and she says he was a flat-out crook. But the defendant says she was kind of abusive and was about to stiff him. Let's listen.
Are you denying she gave you the $250?
She never gave me no.
Yeah,
No,
that's
she
what
just
he's
gave me $50. When I took the whole
So you're
thing
denying
apart,
she gave you $250?
I went downstairs. I left the
Yes or
ladder.
no? Are you denying she gave you $250?
Yes, she never gave me $250.
But are you saying she didn't give it to you that day, or are you saying
She never gave me anything but $50. That's all they gave me.
You need to tell me why you didn't finish the job.
When I went back to do the job, I didn't feel right. I said, you're going to pay me after the job's done? She goes, no, we're going to mail you a check in a week or so after the job's done. I said, no, I don't work that way. You got to pay me today. I said, matter of fact, with the way it's been going, you got to pay me right now. Then I'm going to go do the job, and we're finished, and we'll be happy.
So you wanted to get the entire payment for everything
before I went up there now.
Going up
right,
there.
at this point. So they started fighting with me, the both of them, and I went upstairs, I got the ladder, and I left. And then when I was leaving, he came running out, the husband. He's like, well, give me my old parts, give me this, give me that. I took it all apart. Took out the motor, gave him all the parts. He wouldn't let me get in my car. I says, look, get away from my car. I want to go home. I want to out of here. I'm not dealing with you and your wife. You both, there's something wrong with both of you. It's not my business. And I took the parts. I went to the other side of the car. I put them on the floor in the street. And then I said, there's your parts, sign here. He signed a piece of paper that I gave him the parts. I went in my car and got the heck out of there.
Did you push him?
Never touched him. Also,
did he fall?
What?
Did he fall?
Absolutely not. I never touched him. He's a customer. Never touched him.
And according to you, they never gave you $250?
No, just $50.
And you gave them their motor back?
I gave him the motor, the brackets, everything.
Okay, now according to you, the motor he gives you is not your motor, and you can prove that. Why?
I have a picture.
Okay.
And there's a picture of his tool and his hat. And
I don't need the tool and the hat, but I'd like to see how you decide, how you deduce that that's not your motor is what I want to see.
This is the motor that he gave. This is the motor.
Okay, how are you looking at that and saying that's not the motor?
Well, because it's missing the side of it, and it's just not it.
Okay, so take a look at those pictures that she says she took when you brought it down.
I saw the pictures, Your Honor, but I'd like to see the motor that she's talking about.
Okay.
And she don't have all the parts here.
What does she have, just part of the parts?
She has just the main motor. When you have a motor with two blowers with a bracket.
So what you're saying is that you left her more than that?
Yes, just if that's just a motor, I can't see from here.
Okay, can you lift what you have there? Or is it too heavy?
Here it is, Your Honor. I have the new one right
here. Is that all you are saying that he left there?
That's all he gave me.
That's her own motor.
Nothing but the truth.
There was more pieces with it because I didn't put it all together. I just wanted it out of there.
Why doesn't it look like the picture?
Oh, Your Honor, I'll explain it simple. When I took it down, then I would go to the shop and I would match up a motor, taking her brackets off and her parts. The blowers, the two blowers that you see left and right. And when you take them off, you're left with this, which is that motor. So that is her exact motor.
And you're saying she didn't bring the blowers?
You're right. She's missing the other pieces that I left. Yes, I left them.
Okay. And you're unable to provide any... Do you have any emails, texts, anything that would prove that you paid $250?
I don't.
How about your husband? That would be helpful if he'd help you out.
At that day when I was giving him $250, my husband was not there.
You have a counterclaim against her for $4,002.81. How come?
I paid for the motor, the bracket, the
motor's $219, according to you.
Right. Then my tools that were left up in the attic, which I was afraid to go up there to get.
But didn't you get them?
No, they're up there.
Why do you leave your tools behind?
Your Honor, I would have had to climb up there, both going bananas on me. I would have had to climb
No, why do you leave them behind to begin with?
Oh, because I just forgot them.
Amount owed for time wasted, $720.
Yeah, I had to go...
$28 for gas, $2,500 for slander. Tell me about that.
It's like talking smack, only legal. Will the plaintiff get $5 grand? Judge Milian rules next.
You started paying his bills.
About a month and a half.
How much money do you have to throw around like this? You have serious self...
Court, Harvey Levin here. So, she doesn't have any receipt or anything like that. But if she seems believable, is that enough or is she screwed?
You know what? This is a textbook receipt case. We should not believe her unless there's receipts.
But you could believe her, but is that enough to give her the verdict?
Not if it's not on paper.
It has to be on paper. You're saying?
I agree. It has to be on paper. I mean, if she doesn't have any...
But what if she's super believable?
Still has to be on paper.
Okay, I think you're all right going inside the courtroom.
Slander was, she went to Consumer Affairs and made a complaint. And when you make a complaint to Consumer Affairs, it's an unfounded complaint. They hold that against you. No matter what happens, it's always there on your record. So if you call and want...
So it's your response, right?
Right.
Can I have the box and the motor?
Okay.
So are you able to return this?
No, not at all. It's electrical part. Plus that, if you look at the ends of the motor shaft, that's where the brackets were already put on, the blowers. So it's actually, it's like a used motor now.
It's your word against his on whether the blower wheels were on this thing. You're saying they weren't, he's saying they were. Do you or don't you want to bring your husband in here?
I can bring it in.
Okay, great.
Yeah, sure.
When I went back to do the job, Your Honor, it was all ready to go. Pop it in. That's
yeah,
it.
I understand. But that's what you took with you. You didn't leave that there. So
I took my motor and I gave them.
So you took it all apart while you were arguing with the guy? Right. They're saying you didn't. I need her.
2.5 seconds.
Your husband refuses to come out here. So sometimes people glean something from that. Okay? Like he doesn't want to perjure himself. So I've got your word against his, and I have no idea whether or not those things were left behind or weren't left behind. But when you're suing for them, I have to be able to be persuaded that you are telling the truth, that those pieces weren't left behind. That would be your only cause of action, is I have to buy new blowers, which you are not bringing me a price for. What you're doing instead is suing for the absolute maximum. You can't prove you gave him $250. You didn't get a receipt. He denies you gave him the $250. He has always maintained that on the last day what he said was, I need my $650, which indicates that, you know, he doesn't believe that you gave him $250. And then you are in the same position you were in before, which is you have a broken AC. Because if you didn't know the kind of motor you should have, and I don't know why, if that is the same motor, I now took pictures of this motor, which is the one that he bought in order to put in there. So now you should be able to fix your AC with no problem. Why would I ever make him pay you $5 grand on a job that you quote at $650 or a little more? Why would I make him pay you $5 grand? That seems unreasonable, which is what he's saying about you. Now, prove to me what blowers cost.
I don't know.
Right. So you're in a position where you want me to find that he didn't give it to you, even though it's your word against his and your husband refuses to come out. That's one. Two, you're in a position where you're like, I get $5 grand because there's no blowers, but you're not proving to me that blowers cost $5 grand. Okay? Where do you think this is going? On your lawsuit against him, 0. And on your lawsuit against her, the majority of which is for slander, that's her opinion that you left the job. How do you not have a receipt for the $250?
That's what I'm saying. That's the only proof I don't have, and that's when he changed.
That's the only thing I would have given you.
And that's why he took all the excuses. And
I don't know what you're talking about. The $250 doesn't leave this hand until he, you know, gives you the receipt. That's how business works. As for your lawsuit against him, I find that you're unable to sustain your burden of proof that he stole the blowers, which is the first time I hear this, by the way. And I find on your counterclaim against her, 0 also, because I have no idea which of you is telling the truth.
Judge, someone calls me in to do a job. That's what I'm there
Are you just going to repeat the same stuff?
Well,
yeah. You know what? I think that what happened is she rubbed you the wrong way.
No, she didn't.
No, she did. And then she rubbed you the wrong way and kept rubbing you the wrong way. And then you finally had it. And you said, you know what, I'm not working. I don't have to work for you. I'm not going to work for you.
Judge, I was there ready to do the job.
I'm not asking you to say another word.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah. So on her lawsuit against you, you're not sustaining your burden of proof. On his counterclaim against you, you're not sustaining your burden of proof. Goodbye, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So after a lot of arguments, a lot of accusations, it ends up a nothing tie. Nobody wins anything here today.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you'd have let your husband come in, it might have helped a lot. But you didn't want to, so you get nothing.
He was coughing a lot. That's why he was coughing.
Yeah, well, that was a long time ago.
No, he's still coughing.
How do you know?
That's why, because he had a cold.
You hear him coughing?
Yeah. I mean, no, I don't hear him
coughing. That's what I mean. He's not coughing now. Mm-hmm. The bottom line is, it hurt your case.
Well, he can come in if he wants to. I mean, if
too late. No. Case is over now. Mm-hmm. The judge invited you to bring him in. You said no. Okay. Boom. Case over. Sorry, you lost.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Goodbye. She still doesn't have an air conditioner that works, by the way. Now, here comes the defendant out. You know, you got to learn to shut up a little bit out of a judge. You really do.
I wanted to make her understand. I wanted to just understand.
Well, anyway, you lost, too.
I know.
Okay? So...
Lost a lot of wasted time and everything else, but they were just trying to swindle me.
What about your tools? You said they were still up in her attic.
Yeah,
Did you get them back?
No, they're still there.
Well, you're out. You're out your tools? You're out everything.
That's all right. Not a big deal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
At least you're pretty jovial about it, anyway. Harvey?
So the person who brings the case has to kind of tip the scales like 51-49. Neither did it here in the suit or countersuit. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Toby DeRay. He says he and the defendant have been lifelong friends, and he has no idea why the guy's double-crossing him. But friend or no friend, he's bringing him to court. He found a house the defendant wanted to purchase, but he couldn't afford it on his own. So they decided to buy it together, and then at the last minute, the defendant purchased the house on his own, cutting him out of the deal. He doesn't know what's gotten into this guy, but what he did wasn't right, and that's why he's suing him for the $8,300 he's owed. This is the defendant, Timothy Jacobs. He says there was a discussion between he and the plaintiff about buying a house together, but it was then decided he would purchase the house alone. The plaintiff even drove him to the closing. Now the guy's suing him, saying he should get a finder's fee? What kind of lifelong friend turns on a guy like that? Preposterous. He's accused of going it alone.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Tim, who bought the house?
I did.
Okay.
There's no money in this game. None.
Yeah, no skin in the game.
No skin in the game.
Did you ever say to him, if you help me find...
$1,300, please.
Okay, for a $5,000 finder's fee you feel you're entitled to, $1,500 for repairs on your car, $1,500 for gas, $300 for food that you say he owes you because you helped him find a house. Tell me what's going on.
Tim and I came to an agreement that I would get a finder's fee for helping him buy a house or find a house in Reading.
Is that agreement in writing?
No, it's not. It was a verbal agreement.
Are there any texts or emails or anything talking about the agreement? Not afterwards. Not after.
No, only because...
So according to you, there's a verbal agreement where he says, if you help me find a house, I'll pay you what?
$5,000 finder's fee.
Are you a realtor?
No, I'm not a realtor.
How would you even be able to collect a commission on the sale of a house if you're not a licensed realtor?
Because this was an agreement between him that we made, and we shook hands on it. So on our way out of town to go back to Southern California, we saw a house on the side of the road that said for sale by owner, and I said I'd like to turn around and go look at that. And Tim said, no, it's not necessary. And I said, well, I think it is. I think I'd like to turn around and go back. So we turned around and we went back, and the lady and gentleman there said they were selling the house for $150,000. So I began to negotiate with them, and I got them to agree to $145,000.
So you bought that house?
No. I negotiated the sale.
For him?
For him.
Okay, what's he saying or doing while this is going on?
Standing right next to me in the house with them.
Mom, he's not saying a word.
No, I'm doing negotiating.
Okay, so then you offer them $145, they take it, and what happens? Who signs the contract?
Tim and I then get back in my vehicle and go back to Southern California, okay? And if anything...
Wait, but who bought the house?
He did eventually.
Alone, not with you.
Alone.
Were you supposed to be on the contract?
We're trying to put his credit, so we're going to put Tim on the contract alone.
The loan is one thing and the contract's another. The contract for the house, whose name was going to be on it? Because you can build his credit with your name on it, too. So I'm not understanding you.
No, we wanted to get the loan and
Tim, who bought the house?
I did.
Okay.
He has no money in this game. None.
Yeah, no skin in the game.
No skin in the game.
Did you ever say to him, if you help me find a house, I'll pay you $5,000?
And it isn't like he said, I wanted to stop too because I know what that means. That means I may be able to negotiate with these people. So we made a spot call, he calls them. Call them, they're home, we go in, they invite us in, give us a nice little tour. And then we talked to them about the house, and it came down, we got them down to $145 because she felt that I could get a loan for that, being on Social Security disability that I'm on.
All right, so according to you, the both of you negotiated.
Exactly.
All right, but then at some point, there's some discussion about him buying the house with you. Tell me about that.
Oh, we'd have these discussions, me being the ignorant one and never bought a house like this before, and he's just sold his. We've had a lot of discussions about, yeah, you know, if I couldn't afford something, maybe him and I could partnership in that. Not knowing how it's done, I'm discussing it. But I find out once we talk to a finance officer that that's not how it goes. They don't give house loans to buddies to go buy a house. They can't secure that kind of loan in any way or form. In fact, the financial officer told us both to stop. He doesn't want to hear any of that crap that you guys talked about. This is what we can do, and we're going to try and get Tim a loan, and we'll go from there. Period.
Okay, but two people can buy a house, and two people can apply for a loan in the name of the two people. It happens every day. So I guess what I'm trying to figure out is when was a decision made that two people wouldn't, and how was the decision made?
Okay, we didn't really come to that decision yet. It's just talk yet because we don't know what we can do yet or anything else.
So the day that you make an offer, how does the offer go down?
Well, let me finish where we were at the little lady's house. We get out the door from the negotiation with them, and then I get close to the van, and that's when Toby pops right out of his mouth, and he pulled it out of thin air. You know, Tim, I did such a fine job in negotiating that deal. I think I deserve $5,000 finder's fee. if you don't go into partnership with me and you take this house on your own. And again, it's because they think we got it down where I can afford it to get it on my own. And at that point, I just turned and I said, Toby, that means I'd have to get a loan for $150,000. And I was so upset, I just turned away and got in the van and never said a word after that.
Did you say yes or no when he said that?
No, nothing. I didn't agree to it at all.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
All right, so now you end up submitting the written offer for the house.
Yes.
How long after that little visit?
Oh, we went right down, I think it was within that day or so, we went down to talk to, I think, Bank of America first, where I got shot down. Then we went down to James Luna Star Finance, which he said...
But why is he driving you to all these places if you...
I'm paying... It's on my dime that we're out looking for stuff.
How
and
so?
Maybe an apartment for me or something on my dime because I agreed to pay for the gas and the eats to go do this.
Did you pay for the gas and the eats?
Yes.
Oh, because he's suing you for $1,500 in gas. What's the $1,500 in repairs on the car?
Black ice on the way up there, and I went off.
You hit black ice.
And went off.
Why would he have to pay for your car? Because you hit black ice.
I was on my way up there to take care of business.
That's it?
For the both of us.
That's it? That makes him have to pay for your car accident? He wasn't in the car. He wasn't driving the car. He was like, you know.
Your Honor, I'm trying to buy a house for the both of us.
I don't care if you need money.
No.
Yeah, you're trying to buy a house with both of us, but you have a funny way of doing it because you're not on any document. How is it that you think you're buying a house for the both of us if your name isn't on the offer?
Homie's in trouble. Will the plaintiff get $8,300? Judge Milian rules next.
How long did you know him before you started paying his bills?
About a month and a half.
How much money do you have to throw around like this? You have serious self-experience.
You do business with a friend.
Not today, not tomorrow, never.
Why?
Asking for trouble.
But the other side of it is you know the person, right?
Yeah. But it'd be hard to make business because you will be friends with them, and then if something happened wrong, you will argue and not be friends anymore.
That's exactly what happened in this case. Exactly. Going inside the courtroom.
I didn't go up there to buy a house for the both of us.
Oh, that's what you just said. I'm trying to buy a house for the both of us.
Yes, I was at this point.
Okay, then how is it at this point when financing is being secured, which happens chronologically after an offer is made? If you think at this point that you're trying to buy a house for the both of you, why isn't your name on the offer for the house?
Because we're trying to fix Tim's credit. We're trying to do everything for Tim.
What does that have to do with your name being on the house? It could only help Tim get a loan if you, apparently you must have great credit and you have the money to buy the house. That would only help. That's not the case.
I'm not working at the
job. He can't qualify for a loan.
How long have you guys known each other?
I've known him for about 8 years and got to know him a little better in the last 2, maybe 3 years. And it came down to be he's offered me all this help, you know, that he saw my situation and I needed. It was a time constraint. I had to be out of my house. I just sold the other one, and I had to get my stuff out of there. And he offered to help. But as the thing went on, his help, there'd be a price tag to things. And he would help when certain things would come up. He says, I can help you with that. Oh, yeah. But, you know, you got to pay a little bit. Well, I'm in a situation. He's my friend. Oh, you know, okay, fine. I will just pay you,
right,
period.
But on this occasion, when he walks out of that house and he says that, do you ever say to him, yes, I'll pay you finder's?
No.
Okay, and do you have any proof he did?
We shook hands down by the river.
Do you have any proof he
one
did?
day. No, I have...
No, Mr. Dury, you have not stop. You have not made out a case for a breach of contract where you can prove to me that there is a contract where he agreed that he would pay you. Even if you say to him, as he says, hey, I think I should get X, you need more than that for a contract. You need an agreement that you'll do that. And then there's all this talk about how you were going to buy the house. There's no evidence of that. I mean, you may have thought that in your head, but the way a person buys a house is they buy the house. Their name is on the offer. Their name is on the contract. Their name is on the loan. None of that happened here. So now, after the fact, you may have thought that was going to happen. He agrees that at one point there was talk about that, but it's not a contract unless it comes to fruition. And there's nothing you're showing me. Now you have another piece of paper you want to show me. This is the last piece of paper. Hand me anything you want to convince me of, anything you want to hand me that you think will convince me of your position, that there is a contract between you two that you should be getting $8,000.
These are all the phone records.
Phone records? Great. That doesn't prove anything.
All right, well, it's an affidavit from, whatever.
Okay, ruling for the defendant. Good luck, folks.
Okay, thank you.
So the plaintiff fails in his bid to get this fee. You were seeking here in the People's Court? Nothing.
Nothing. That's all right.
What about the friendship? You apparently had a fairly decent friendship going for a while there, even though every time you turned around, you apparently were asking for money from him.
No.
According to him.
That's not the case, but it's all right.
All right. So what have you learned from all of this? Anything?
Don't help out friends, I suppose.
Okay. Well, that's a sad... But you should have had some kind of document. Sure. You do understand
Sure,
that,
I do.
don't you? Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much. You must sign a few documents outside. Tim Jacobs is on his way out of the courtroom. Mr. Jacobs, how do you feel about the outcome of all of this? I think that's really interesting.
I had my day in court.
Yeah?
And it was the right decision. Absolutely, she read it to the T. That's exactly how I felt about the whole thing. And we pretty well laid out what happened. You don't pull things out of the air and decide to jam your friends up after all that.
Yeah, you've learned a good lesson. Everything okay now? You happy in the house?
I can go home and start my new life in my brand new house.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much. Harvey?
So ultimately, this was just a lot of talk. The defendant never obligated himself to buy this house with the plaintiff, period. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Tania Jenkins. She says she was pulling into the driveway of her daughter's taekwondo place, and then kaboom! The defendant ran into her car while riding out of control on his skateboard. The skateboard became wedged under her tire, and when she moved the car, the skateboard broke. The defendant became enraged, punched her car, and put a big dent in it. The cops came, filled out a report. The defendant disappeared. So she's here suing him for the $500 worth of damages he caused. This is the defendant, Ryan Voorhees II. He says the plaintiff cut him off, giving him no time to stop, and they collided. The plaintiff was the one who was at fault. She had plenty of time to stop, and she's lucky he didn't get hurt. Over money? No way. He's accused of hanging a bad 10. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $89.80, the cost of fixing his skateboard.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Before the exchange of words, tell me the words exchanged.
I don't know the exact words, but I think I said something to the effect of, watch where you're going. He's like, watch where you're going. And, you know.
When did the "are you okay" come? Because that sounds pretty hostile.
Plaintiff says the defendant was out of control on his skateboard when he ran into her car and got enraged and punched the vehicle. But the defendant says the plaintiff cut him off and caused the crash. It's the case of gnarly lawsuit, dude.
Thank you, Douglas. Tania Jenkins, you are suing Ryan Voorhees II for $500, the amount of your insurance deductible, as a result of damage that he did to your car that you say was his fault. Tell me about what happened. Come on over here. I guess we've got a little skateboarder on there, and we've got a car. Tell me how this occurred.
So he is coming that way, and I'm turning in, so traffic is going this way. Back here is my daughter's taekwondo class, so I'm turning in there, passing other buildings. So I'm coming here.
Do you ever see him before it happens?
No.
So go on.
So I'm coming this way, and I actually had to slow down because there is a tire.
Okay.
And so he's doing this, so I end up going over his skateboard, and it cracks. He lost his mind. So by this time, he comes right back here, and he punches my car.
Wait, he punches your car?
He punched my car.
Where did he punch your car?
Oh, I've been driving backwards the whole time.
That's all right.
He punched it right there.
Do you have a picture? Did it make a dent?
Yeah.
Did you punch your car?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you kidding me? Who's that lady with you?
Oh, this is my mother.
Step on up, Mama. Step on right up, right next to that boy who punched the car in anger.
Will the judge hang the skateboarder for 50 tens? The decision next. I know you're not supposed to damage property, but think of this guy. His skateboard is his means of transportation, right? And she runs it over. And he didn't want to necessarily hurt her car, but he just reacted out of anger that you could kind of understand. have I made a case for his defense that he shouldn't have to pay?
Two wrongs don't make a right. So
But he didn't do it on, it's like more reactive, say.
Yeah, but it's just not a good decision.
What do you say?
Same. I agree with him.
Anybody want to make a case? Can anybody make a case?
It's a crime of passion, right? I mean, I'd be angry too if I only had a skateboard to my name.
And therefore what?
And therefore, like, it's okay.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Why would you make a case like that? Going inside the courtroom.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
21. Wait.
Yes, his fist did that.
His fist did that?
Yeah.
Let me see your fist. I look like I weigh more than him.
He turned into one of those Hulk fists that
A
you
Hulk
have in the
fist?
store. Yeah.
What are you, nuts? Why are you punching her car?
I was angry. She ran my board over.
What are you, 2? I mean, that's what somebody who's 2 does. It wasn't on purpose. It was called a car accident. What would entitle you to punch her car? You say in your answer to the complaint, I don't have to pay anything. The accident was her fault. What, right? What's the consequence to punching a car? You think that's part of the accident? That's her fault? Like when people, if somebody has an accident with you, that's a free pass for you to punch a car?
No, ma'am. It was out of rage and anger.
So you agree you need to pay for the repair of the car?
Well,
because I'm kind of shocked that then you're suing for $89 to fix the skateboard, but you do agree you have to pay the $500? I'm not sure. In fact, it would be more than $500. She's just suing you for the deductible. Your insurance company paid how much?
They paid the difference of like $300 and something. So when I first got the appraisal, it was without the insurance because the police officers told both of us it didn't look like it was that much damage. It would probably be better if you just paid it yourself instead of going through your...
To him.
To him.
Right.
So I did that initially. And so my initial quote was like $997. Well, once I saw that, I was like, oh no, I need to go through my insurance. And the price dropped to $859. So the insurance company paid $359.06.
So you're just suing for the $500 you're out.
Exactly.
Now you have a counterclaim against her for $89.80 for the amount owed to fix your skateboard.
Yes, ma'am.
You punched her car.
But see, I feel that
I know, but like if you punched her car, you should be paying $900 for the punch. So who counterclaims to fix a skateboard?
Honestly, I feel like I don't even feel like I'm at fault because it was the initial wreck in the first place. You know, I feel
that
like
made you so angry that you have a right to punch a car?
Exactly, because like...
Are you seriously saying what you just said to me in a court of law? Are you crazy? Mom, shut him up. Are you kidding me?
No, it's just, it happened so fast because like I'm...
Why are you going so fast when that's an entryway?
I mean, I wasn't going extremely fast, not like cruising speed, you know, fast, just kind of like, you know, steadily going on my way. And I was I looked down for like a split second and I looked back up and I see your car there and I was like,
yeah,
whoa.
Don't look down. Tell me again how you think she should pay you $89 when you punched her car and cost her $800.
I understand that.
Does he have an anger control issue?
No, not usually.
Were you surprised?
Very surprised. Yes.
Sweetheart, you're going to be paying for the car that you punched because under no circumstances would that ever be appropriate. And as for the skateboard fix, no, she's not going to pay it because I kind of find the accident, not kind of, I do find the accident to have been your fault. If you're on a sidewalk and you're about to cross where cars go, and you look down for a second and therefore an accident happens because she's not doing anything wrong. She's turning in. She doesn't expect you to come flying down the sidewalk. It's just one of those things. Sometimes it's just one of those things. But you would have to prove to me not only that it's not your fault, but really that it's her fault, that she did something negligent, which I'm not seeing any evidence of her doing anything negligent. So on your counterclaim 0, and on her claim against you, $500. Verdict for the plaintiff.
So in what was really just a fairly simple case, the skateboarder loses on both counts. He will pay for the car, and he'll have to pay for his own skateboard. Unfortunately. You learn anything from all of this?
Not really, just kind of a waste of time, really.
What, coming to court?
Well,
I mean, you could have paid her and avoid coming to court, you know?
Yeah.
What a shame. Okay, well, congratulations. I think you have learned something anyway. Here comes Ms. Jenkins, the plaintiff. All right. You know, it's kind of a shame that you had to come to court. I mean, he would not pay for it, right?
Well, we didn't even have to get to it, but we had text messages where his sister said, you know, he can do installments and so forth. He stopped responding to text messages, so here we are.
So you had no choice. Okay. Well, you did the right thing.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay. Bye-bye. Harvey?
Okay, Doug, I was joking with this guy, but I think there is kind of a point here. You can't react out of anger and get away with it. There are times, though, when you have like an involuntary...